Hey, Brenton, can you hear me? For, let me see. All right, we live.
All right.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Man, I can't call it, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, I want to welcome y'all to the Deprogram show. I got my very special guest, my homeboy, my brother. We've been knowing each other, what, about at least 10 years?
Yeah, at least that long.
Gary Long, man. How you doing, brother?
Man, I can't complain, man. Just making it. Blessed, bro. I'm blessed.
One of the reasons I wanted to invite you on the show is, like, I'm versed in many subjects, but sports, especially basketball, you might be the one guy I know more versed than me. And the reason I say that is because you done played on pretty much almost every level it is to play. So one of the first questions I want to thank you for coming, man, because I've been trying to get it in with you for a long time, but
You have, man, and I was thinking to myself, like, I gotta do it, man. Ro been asking me, and I'm like, man, I'm not really a talk show person. I don't even do Facebook Live, but you hit me up, man. So I had to reach out and get back with you and do it, man. So I'm glad to be here, bro.
all right. One of the things I want to ask you, far as basketball, because you coach, I see you representing Red Bank.
For sure.
What do you think? Well, let me ask you this: what you think your most accomplished thing as a player? We gonna go player first, then we're gonna transition into coaching. As a player, what you think your biggest accomplishment was?
uh, Winning the conference championship, man. I mean, anytime you can win on to that magnitude and make history in a program, that's probably the biggest accomplishment that I can say that I've been through. A lot of players, you go through high school, you go through college, and you don't get that opportunity. And I was unfortunate enough to get that opportunity. So that's probably the biggest accomplishment for me.
Okay, so let me ask you this: being you came out in what '99, because I tried to do my research.
Yeah, 99. Yep.
Okay, what's the biggest difference in when you was playing? We're gonna just talk about high school right now. When you was playing in high school as opposed to since you coaching, what's the biggest difference in then and now, just from your perspective?
Oh man, that's easy. The community. I mean, when I was playing, most of the guys that I played with, we played from sixth grade all the way up through 12th grade. Turner Middle, all the way to Turner High School. Now, you got kids at schools all over from all over Chattanooga. So it's a little different, man. Now, and that's the biggest difference that I see today, as far as like high school back then and high school now. A lot of guys play with guys they grew up with, so it made it a little different to be like, I'm gonna go at you because I'm from this school. I'm gonna go at you because I'm from that school. Whereas now, as all these guys are friends and they teaming up, which I don't have any issue with, but that's just the way it is today.
Okay, far as the competition, who would you say in high school was some of your? If you could name three dudes you played against in high school, who would you say was the toughest competition you played against?
Oh, toughest competition, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. My freshman year, man, playing against Brandon when they had C.J. Black and all those guys, man. That was the biggest, most competitive team I ever played against in high school. That freshman year, I mean, it actually woke me up and made me like, I got to go get better because these dudes for real. Because I mean, they were that serious. I mean, they had a really good team. No disrespect to those guys. They were talented, man.
So that's coach. That's playing against. Who, far as coaching, I'm gonna add this two part. As a coach, who is the toughest? Well, far as competitive wise, or even just talent, the top three guys you've coached and the top three guys you've coached against.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. I guess you got to look at, salute to Coach Brown and Brandon, man. I mean, he's done a fantastic job in the last few years at that school. He's went all the way to the state championship game, man. So I got to salute to Coach Brown, man. He's done a fantastic job with those guys and getting those guys to play on a level of consistency.
Okay.
So I gotta shout him out, man. See who else? I don't know, man. You put me on the spot with that one. Because a lot of times you gotta look at how long you've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like if you've been doing it 5+ years or more and have been on a consistent level, then I consider you, you know what I'm saying, pretty replicable coach. So, man, I'm trying to think. I gotta think, man. I really don't even know.
So let me flip it then. We'll go player wise. Far as the top 3 players you've coached and the top 3 players you coached against.
Top 3 players that I've coached. Ooh, man, you put me on the spot, bro. You could
do 5.
Man,
it ain't just narrowing it to the top 3. Just 3 players that come to mind, and then 3 players that come to mind you coached against.
Well, I had the opportunity, man. His senior year, he can end up playing for us AAU wise later. Brandon from Howard.
Big Brandon Walters.
Probably one of the best talents I've seen come out of Chattanooga in a while. I really just can't narrow it down to 3, man. You had Sadiq, you had Baby K, Malik McConnell. If I'm forgetting anybody, you had a lot of top talented guys that I've coached, man, and Orlando Moore. It's a lot of them, man. I really don't want to forget any names because it's so many. Kendrick Thompson, who's playing overseas right now, played for Cleveland. A lot of talented guys, man. It's a lot of them. I just don't want to just pinpoint it to so many because they all were special. You know what I'm saying? Okay. They were all special, man. So it's a selective group of guys that I've coached, and even to the ones that I got to shout out. Mike Howes, Brandon Jones, Kerry Ellison, Lucas Brown. All those guys, they're in college right now. So I can't just pinpoint it to 3 or 4. Those guys were special, man. If I forgot any of you guys, it's not because I just forgot. It's just that he put me on the spot. So I wasn't ready
fault
for that
me.
one.
I take that. So coached against.
Tay Ross was tough. Ryan Montgomery was tough. Who else? Duke was tough.
Duke Evans
was tough. It's a long list of guys, but like I say, those guys stick out in my mind.
I'm gonna help you a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't even forget the AAU, because I kind of helped coach under y'all on the AAU team. So you coached against some dogs on the AAU circuit.
Oh yeah, now above all of those guys, John Morant was probably the best guy that I ever coached against. As far as like any of those guys that played on that team, Malik McConnell, Baby K, all those guys that played against John Morant when we was in the Las Vegas tournament, they see. But John Morant also wasn't the guy that he is now. That just goes to show you what hard work does. That guy was tough. We heard about him, but we wanted to see what he was about. You know what I'm saying? And to see where he's come from then to that point to now, man, that's why I say, man, it's a list. But yeah, you're right. John Morant was probably the best player. Seeing him now, that turned out to be great.
And I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna say this. At that time, and people gonna get mad, I know Ja where he at. But at that time, because I was, like I said, I was coaching up under y'all, Malik McConnell gave Ja Morant the business.
That is true.
And that's just, we just got to keep it real.
I still got that on film. I still got that tape. Hey, and I still got that film. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely, man.
So let me ask you this too. Far as we're gonna go, I'm gonna kind of switch gears, but we still talking high school, public school versus private school, and we're gonna do it in athletics and terms of school. Cause I got my own opinion, which I might say and I might not. But what's your take on public school versus private school, athletics and school wise?
I'm gonna say this, man. parents, do what's best for your child. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, do what's best for your child. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we try to hold on to that, what we went through when we were kids. Oh, my child got to go to this school because that's where I went. But sometimes that's not the best fit. So I'm not pulling for either. I'm going to say I tell parents all the time, do what's best for your child. In public schools, do we want your child? Yes. And to say that, I feel like a lot of times people get upset about kids going to other schools, but it's not always about us as coaches. It's about what's best for that kid. Is that environment the best for that kid? Because if that kid can't strive in that environment, then he needs to be taken out of that environment so he can, exceed his expectations. So a lot of kids that go private, man, they need to go private because they were in public schools. Their grades wouldn't be where they need to be. They might be out here getting in trouble. It's a lot of things that parents factor into why they send the kids to private school. Now, would I rather them be in public school? Yes, because there are some good public schools out here, but they don't always fit. So I'm kind of in between on that, man. I just tell parents all the time, do what's best for your child.
Okay. You said grades as a coach. Do you think some student athletes' grades have hindered? They might have the talent, but their grades hinder where they could go on a collegiate level.
Oh, no doubt, man. I mean, it's obvious, For me, grades should be the very first thing that's important to a coach and his athlete. You know what I'm saying? It should be grades. If you're allowing kids to continue to play their seasons and they're failing classes, I think you're doing them a disservice. It's one rule that we have at Red Bank, and all the guys at Red Bank know. If you're failing 2 classes, I don't care if we in a district championship, you're not playing. That's the standard. You have to be passing the majority of your classes to be able to play, and they know the standard. If we got practice and you fell in the class and the teacher said, I got an hour of tutoring after school, we're going to get that grade up, go to that tutoring. We'll handle what we need to handle on the basketball side, but we got to make sure we get you to where you need to be so you can play collegiately. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times, it's easier said than done, but I think the effort has to be put in place. And I think we've done a great job at Red Bank, about the effort. Most of our guys are eligible to play collegiate ball. No, I'm not saying that JUCO is a bad thing because I'm a JUCO product, and sometimes JUCO is just the best thing for some players. But if you're a player that's capable of making the grades, but you're just not doing it, then that's another issue.
Okay. Being that's said, why do you think, far as us being in Chattanooga, why do you think it's hard for us to break through? We just talking basketball now. Far as talent-wise, when you compare it to your Memphises and basically Memphis, because when we get, that because you coached on the state level. Mm-hmm. When we get to that state tournament at MTSU, it's like, besides in the last, 10 years, besides your Brainards, we've been struggling as a city to get over the hump. Why do you think that is?
It's a lot of reasons, man, but the one that sticks out to me is it's the relationships. A lot of those guys in Memphis, we was talking about this the other day on a post on Facebook. Memphis allow coaches in the city to coach. You know what I'm saying? It's not all about, in Chattanooga, they want you to be certified teacher in the building, whatever. In Memphis, you look at the Pennies, the Todd Days, those guys weren't teachers. But look at the level that they took those programs, all because of who they were. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times it's about relationships, man. And I was just saying on the post the other day, it's a lot of great coaches in this city that don't want to be teachers. But they have a relationship with these kids that can impact so much better than some of these teachers that are coaches. Nothing against these teachers at all. But at the same time, you got to look at other places and see how these kids are responding to some of these people. And a lot of these kids just don't respond to some of these teachers that are coaching. It's no knock to, like I said again, it's no knock to the teachers, but I think relationships are big. And I think that's the biggest issue that we have in Chattanooga, man, is that we got a lot of guys that's, coaching Little League, coaching AAU, but they're not allowed to coach in high school, all because of they're not a certified teacher. So I feel like, that's the biggest downfall we have.
So I see, this just from my observation, I also see guys who in our area, Chattanooga, they might be on the college level, they might be guard, but they might be playing in the post. And then when you get to the state, you gonna have a guy who's a guard, but he might be a post size, but he's actually have guard skills. Do you think because of, like you said, you got your Pennies who've been in the league, your Todd Days, they know the game, and like you said, they're not certified teachers, so they able to put their players in positions that someone, not a knock on nobody who's a teacher, but somebody who's a certified teacher might not have as a qualified background or as much knowledge of the game as a Penny Hardaway.
That you hit it right on the head, man. You hit it right on the head. A lot of these guys don't have those college connections. Like if somebody in the city, let's just say, I'm not gonna name no names because that wouldn't even be right. I don't name drop it all.
Cool.
But a person like a Penny Hardaway, if he referenced a kid to a college, and John Doe out of Chattanooga referenced a kid to a college, that kid from Chattanooga might be better. But you best believe because of who Penny Hardaway is, they gonna take his kid over that kid. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way. It's those connections, man. If you're not building college connections when you're a high school coach, that's a knock on you as a coach, because that should be the first and foremost. You be building relationships. You don't have to have 100, but just have a few that you can, put your guys in place. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the biggest reasons, man, is the connections. You have to have the connections.
Okay. And one thing I salute you on, being that you are at Red Bank, I've seen you behind the scenes, and we ain't got to go into no names, help guys from different schools get into when they have limited offers. You use your resources and say, look, I got this. You know what I'm saying? Which is better than what they had.
Right. And
I definitely salute you for that, because that has helped many guys take their game to the next level, because they didn't. I've talked to them. Like I said, I ain't gonna say no names. When they didn't have an offer, they've told me personally, Coach G, man, he came through for me. And like I said, they ain't even go to Red Bank.
Right. That's what I'm big on, man. I mean, everybody know I'm at Red Bank, but at the same time, that's the reason why I coach AAU, because I want to be more than just a helpful person for one school or two schools or three schools. I feel like Chattanooga as a whole need to come together, man, and help and be better for these kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what it should be about. If a coach call me and say, Coach, you know what I'm saying, I need you to help me get, no problem. You know what I'm saying? That's no problem. I don't have any ill feelings towards any coach in the city where he can't or she can't reach out and say, Coach, you know what I'm saying, do you have any opportunities that may be available? And I would do the same. If the opportunity came and I needed to reach out to somebody in the city because I wanted a connection and I knew they had a connection at a school, then I would reach out to them. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it should. We should all be working collectively. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's about these kids at Chattanooga and seeing them be better and seeing them move along, and not just, be happy with being the best high school player or the best player in Chattanooga. It's bigger than that. And we gotta change that mindset for a lot of our guys. Because it's easy to get on here and talk about how good you was in high school, but that's the amateur level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should want to go farther than the amateur level. You shouldn't just want to end it there. Now, some guys just don't want to play college ball, and that's totally fine. You just want to go to school and get your degree, and that's totally fine. I have nothing against that. But if you say you've been playing this sport since Little League, and I know that you're competitive, I know that you're strong-willed about it, and you want to go to play at the next level. Some of these guys give up because of the offers. And I say that to say this: just because you don't go D1 don't mean there's not nothing else out there for you. Some of these guys, man, I gotta go. No, you don't have to go D1. You can go D2, D3, and still enjoy the college experience of being a college athlete. So, man, all in all, we just got to come together as coaches in the city, man, to help each other out, to help these kids.
And you being yourself, you said you're a JUCO product. You went JUCO, then you transitioned from JUCO to D1. And you've also helped with, like you mentioned earlier, Brandon Walters. Brandon Walters went to JUCO, but he also transitioned from JUCO and went to MTSU. So, like you said, it don't just stop at, okay, I might not have the D1s knocking now.
Right.
But that don't mean they ain't going to come.
Right. And a lot of times, man, it's other avenues for you if you feel like, and I feel like that's a grade issue. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't have the grades and you got the talent to play at a Division I level, JUCO, some prep schools are the avenues that some guys take, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have no issue with those avenues because it's shown that those avenues have worked for different kids. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I mean, you know, the guys that went JUCO, you got a couple of them, Brandon Walters, Trey Sotos. You got a couple of guys that played in the city that went JUCO and made careers out of themselves. I mean, those not I just said those two because of those are the last two that came to my mind, but it's been others. You know what I'm saying? So opportunity is an opportunity.
So let me ask you this: being that said, everybody we know ain't gonna go to college, and you talked about how high school is like the basic level, pretty much.
It's the amateur level.
So why do you think so many guys, because I seen a post, and hopefully you'll remember the post, you got a guy on one side dunking a basketball. And I think on the other side, he got a pistol or something like that. You remember that post?
I don't.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can find it real quick, because I know I posted it on my Instagram. Let's see real quick. Let me see. I can't find it, but the whole object of the post was, why do this happen? Like, and you have star athletes on the high school level because they don't have the grades and they feel like they pride. This is just me, and no knock on those guys. They pride get in the way because they feel like they better than going to a JUCO or a prep school. Then you see them hit the streets, and then it's like the street life catch up with them. Why do you think that happens so many times? Because the majority, to be honest, this is me, and I could be wrong, a lot of our best talent in this city has got caught up like that.
It's all about your surroundings, man. It's all about the people that you hang around, you know, your influences. Some people are strong enough to pull away, and some people are not. You know, that's just the reality of it. You know, and like you said, no knock to those guys, but at the same time, man, you get the ones that are strong enough to pull away and still able to move on and make some of themselves do, and the ones that don't, you know, I hate it, but they get caught up in that lifestyle. And I think a lot of times, man, we as a community need to reach in more. You know what I'm saying? And kind of pull those guys. I mean, you're not going to be able to save every kid, man. It's just, you're not. You know, some situations just going to happen out of your control. But the ones that you can, that's on the verge, we got to continue to keep pushing them, keep nudging them, keep, you know, trying to kind of push them in the right direction. But like I said, it's all about your community, man, your relationships with, you know, with who they're involved with.
Okay, so let's go into this. You said coming out, you went to JUCO. Tell us a little bit about your JUCO experience.
You know, I played at Walton State. We had, you know, pretty competitive team. Of, you know, the history speaks for itself. But like I said, that league in itself, man, like Walton State, Chat State, Ball State, Montlow State, that league in itself is tough. Like I don't think people really understand how tough that league is year in and year out. So if you play in that league, you playing against some D1 level talent, whether you realize it or not. And I try to, it's a lot of people that's misinformed on JUCO. You know what I'm saying? And they think, oh, you go to JUCO, that's like, man, I'm telling you, that league, I can only speak for that league. But it's other leagues out here that's tough, but I can speak on that league because I played in that league and it's been consistently tough over the years. That's a tough league to play in. And if you say you the best of the best, it'll show once you hit that league, because a lot of guys go there and they don't pan out because it's so competitive, man. I mean, let's just be real. It's just like that. It's that competitive.
And a lot of guys give a reality check. You might be the best in your city, but I've seen guys go play in that league, and that because
No, speak it. You
they
right.
might not be prepared for what they finna deal with, and they get that work put on 'em.
Listen, man. It has come now. A lot of junior colleges, colleges period, even all the way down to JUCO level, they're looking for these transfers. You have a guy that may go D1 out of high school, a qualified D1 player, but at the same time, he might not get the minutes he want his first year. Well, he decided I want to go to JUCO. Now you got a guy that's a 3 or 4 star athlete, and he comes and says, "Coach, I want to transfer. I want to go to a JUCO and get better offers for the next year." Well, you got a high school kid with no offers. Tough. I'm talking about probably was the best in his city. A lot of times these coaches like, "Well, shoot, I'm gonna take this kid that was the best in his city a year ago, but at the same time, he's got that D1 or D2 experience. He's got that college level experience." See, a lot of times people don't understand. That's what makes it so tough, because a lot of these kids on that level are not high school kids. These kids are coming from all over, man. So when you get to college, it's not about, "Oh, I'm a freshman, I'm gonna go in here and play against other freshmen." No, you're gonna be playing against some real dogs, and if you're not ready, you'll get ate up.
So what did you learn for as transition, if you can remember, from high school to playing in college? What was the biggest transition you had to learn, whether it was lifestyle or even just playing?
The biggest transition for me, man, was like, in high school I played the post, and so my junior year, going into my senior, Mario Hansen, Book McCray, Wayne Golden, Coach Henry Dickerson, all these guys who were influential in my upbringing in the basketball world, helped transition my game from a post player to a wing player. And I think that's what helped me a lot, being able to transition when I got to Walton, because I'm going in, you got guys 6'7", 6'8", here I am 6'4", and I done played, at time in the post. I can shoot the ball, I can handle. I wasn't the best ball handler. I could shoot it a little bit. I can handle it a little bit, but I wasn't guard going in. I had to learn that trait. I had to work with, like I said, I work with those guys, and they helped me transform my game, man. So, and hats off to those guys, man, because like I say, a lot of people don't understand, everybody has somebody that helped them along the way, and those guys, like I say, Coach Dickerson, Mario Hansen, Wayne Golden, all those guys, they helped improve my game. Coach Book McCray helped improve my game, coming up.
So, what we talked about your high school. Who was some of the, if you can remember, some of the toughest guys you played against on the collegiate level?
Oh, toughest guys I played against on the collegiate level. JUCO wise, you had, if I can remember, Southwest, it was Shelby State back in the day. They were loaded. You know what I'm saying? They had about 5 Division I guys on that team, man. If I can think back in some of the names of those guys, your Darius Rices, your John Grices. I forgot the guy that played for Kentucky State, but he was tough. Who else? James White. He played for the San Antonio Spurs. He actually played for we played Hargrave Military Academy every year when I was at Walters. And so you had Josh Howard. Harris Walker played for Hargrave Military. You had some studs that come through that that I played against. Kendrick Brown, who played for Okaloosa Walton, I think it's called Northwest Community College now. He played for the Celtics.
So James White, did he?
James White was the guy. Man, I'm gonna tell
you talking about James White who jumped real high?
Man, took off. Look, anybody that played for me at Walton State, no, we was playing. I think it was in Spartanburg. The 2 highest jumping guys I ever seen. James White took off from us in the game from the free throw line.
In the game?
On a fast break. Oh, man, come on, man. And then, I don't know if you remember the guy, they call him Helicopter, but he played for MTSU. Humphrey was his last name. I think it's John Humphrey. He played for Spartanburg Methodist that year. He ended up playing for ETSU. He played with, what's the basketball league up in New York? Hot Sauce and all them guys.
And one.
Yeah, he played with them. Man, those guys, man. When I tell you, I want to say John Humphrey won the college dunk contest his senior year, but he went to MTSU. Like I say, man, you just playing against some of those guys, man, it's tough.
So you done seen it pretty much on every level.
Yeah.
So, guys, let me ask you this. College. Why do you think some guys, what do you think do it take to get to the pro level, rather?
Consistency. It's a no-brainer. Consistency. In each level, you have to be more consistent. You know what I'm saying? Even when you get all the way to the pros, what can you do consistently?
So it's not just talent alone.
No, sir. No, it's a lot of talented guys out here, man. It's a lot of. What's the guy? I mean, it's a guy that played for University of Memphis the other day. That kid, man, his hops is probably second to none. I can't think of his name.
He played that now?
He played it a few years ago. He done been in the D League, bounced around the D League. He may be in the league now. I'm not sure. He played for Memphis though. But man, I'm talking about kid is. I mean, even with James White, you saw how James White jumped.
Yeah, he jumped.
But
out
at the same time, the NBA level calls the professional. I'm not even gonna say NBA. The professional level, man, it's a reason why it's an elite group of guys, because those guys do things exceptionally well, and you have to be consistent at doing those things.
So a lot of dudes, and I'm pretty sure you encounter it way more than I do because you've been coaching a long time. A lot of dudes think, okay, just because I can shoot the ball and I can dribble or I can play the game when I walk in the gym, then I'm supposed to be a D1 player or I'm supposed to go professionally just because I can do that.
Hey, man, it's the reason why Steph Curry shoot the way he do. And it's not because he was just born shooting like that. And that guy spends hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym. It's the reason why Kobe Bryant was as great as he was, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Those guys, they wake up, they eat, sleep, basketball. They in the gym out. Like you heard what Kobe Bryant said, man. Yeah, I'm going to go out with y'all guys, and I'm going to hang out. But at 4 o'clock in the morning, I want to see you in the gym with me working out. And the many of those guys, they wouldn't do it. It's your consistency in how you approach the game. You have to approach the game different at each level. And when you become a pro, man, it's your work ethic is what keeps you there.
So let me ask you this. I know when you was playing, because I was in high school when you was in high school. Mm-hmm. You're a little older than me. The work ethic of y'all when y'all was playing is a whole lot, I'm going to be honest, it was a whole lot higher than it is now, because when you was playing and even before you even made it to high school, you probably lived with a basketball. Like, if the guys who even made it to the collegiate level back then, they eat, sleep, and almost breathe basketball. And you very rarely see that nowadays. Why do you think the difference is from that time to now as far as the work ethic?
The difference is what we're doing right now, man. Social media.
Wow.
Social media, man. So these kids are on social media more than they in the gym. You know what I'm saying? They more so worried about what such and such said or what such and such is posting. That's the difference. Like, we didn't have that. All we had was, okay, we might go play the game, but that get boring sometimes. So now let's go outside in the back. I mean, I remember guys that I played AAU with, they'll tell you, man, we lived in Galen Heights. We had a small little space in my backyard. We had 2 rims. And I'm talking about you can actually shoot from one rim to the next. And we would be back there running. No pavement. It was dirt. You know what I'm saying? We back there going at it, man. Like, that was our fun, because we didn't have the social media and all the stuff that these kids have now. So I think that's the biggest drawback to why we were so indulged in the sports, because that was almost like the next best thing to what we had. You know, sports was it for us. Now they got, man, it's all kind of distractions out here for these kids, man. And that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I remember, since you said that, we didn't have your Facebooks and we ain't have no social media.
Thank God.
MySpace wasn't even out there.
Right. So that's why I'm saying, man, like, that's the biggest difference. But at the same time, we got to look now, because many of us our age that didn't have that, we look at it now as, and our excuse for these kids is, man, y'all ain't nothing like we used to be. No, they not. They will never be. But how can we transition our childhood into what they're doing now? We can't take what we did and implement it into what they're doing. We need to find ways to incorporate it to these kids that's going to be helpful for their generation. How can we continue to get these kids and mold these kids to be ball players, and where they can still enjoy the fact of doing stuff they want to do? You know what I'm saying? That's how we got to look at it nowadays, man. We can't always look in the past and say, you know, I heard a guy last night at the football game, and I'm talking about it was a good football game. Those kids were playing their hearts out, man, on both sides. And it was a guy, he made a comment like, man, this is why I don't come to football games. Now, these kids don't play like we used to. Like, what do you mean? Or what do you mean by that? These kids out here giving their heart just like you did or we did when we played. Yeah, it's a different era. Yeah, they may do things a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? But that's just this is their era. This is their time. You know what I'm saying? And we can't always get down on them about what they do in their era because it doesn't relate to ours.
And being based on your explanation, anybody listening can hear the coach, the mentor, even the parent in you coming out saying, look, I understand how we were. Now I see how they are. So you able to relate on a whole different level.
Of course. I mean, and that's the way it has to be, man. We can't continue to ridicule these kids because of what we did, how we came up. This is a new day and time. And if you're not able to adapt to the day and time and be able to pull some of those things from what we did back in the day and add them to the day to help these kids grow, then you're failing them. You're failing them, man, because everybody needs to be able to, these resources need to be able to be reachable to these young men and women.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What made you, after playing, know, hey, man, I wanna coach this game?
The love I've had, man, since I was playing at Book McCray League. Like, it's just, I knew, you know what I'm saying, that once I got out of college, you know what I'm saying, if after I finished playing, that this is what I wanted to do. I mean, this is my passion. I mean, no matter where I'm coaching at, you know, it doesn't matter for me. It's all about reaching the next kid and getting the next kid to reach his full potential. That's my goal in life forever.
So, how far, let me ask you this, how far do you want to take it on the coaching level?
Until God say, "Son, it's time to give it up." You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the only way I should lead this game. You know what I'm saying? And you know, as a coach, when you've outgrown the game, you should know anyway. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have some that stay in it too long. You have some that don't stay in it long enough for whatever reasons. But as long as your impact is still being made, then you still have a reason to be coaching.
Do you think you ever want to pursue the college level on coaching or professionally?
You know what, man? I've thought about it and I've thought about it. And for me right now, honestly, I can say I'm not sure because I'm big on parenting, man. I got a son and a daughter, and I want to see my kids every moment. I mean, it's hard now coaching in high school and missing certain things that they get to do. You know what I'm saying? And on the college level, it's even more so because you're traveling, you're moving around. You know what I'm saying? You're missing these opportunities with your kids. And a lot of times, kids need their parents in their life, and sometimes we don't take that for granted. We take that for granted when we don't, spend that time. And then you find out certain situations happen in their kid's life, and you're like, man, if I would have been there, then I would have been able to change that situation maybe. So right now, man, I mean, I'm happy at the high school level. I'm enjoying the process. I'm not gonna say that I would never coach at the college level, but right now I'm just enjoying the process.
Okay. Let me ask you this. This is a two-part question. Right now we're talking about coaching. What coaches has influenced your coaching style?
Oh man, that's easy. Like I said before, man, Coach Henry Dickerson, my college coach J.L. Perry, who rest in peace, my Fred Summers, Coach Book McCray. I mean, a lot of these guys, man, who I look up to, and I still reach out today. I still reach out to these guys today, man, on how to be better at my job. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys have been head coaches. A lot of these guys have been assistant coaches. And as you know, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand your role as a head coach. You have to understand your role as an assistant coach. And a lot of times you just have to reach out to different guys to see what made them so successful in their careers. And those guys there, man, they helped me along the way. You know what I'm saying? And if I forgot anybody, I'm just, like I said, I'm just going off the top of my head. But I can honestly say that those three guys for sure, man. Four guys, I still reach out to them to this day.
So let me ask you this. You said head coach and assistant coach, those different roles. Because I know on the AAU level, I've seen you in your head coaching mode. Mm-hmm. And I've seen you as assistant coach. What do you think is the difference, or what roles do you understand in being both?
I mean, as a head coach and assistant coach, like I said, the roles are a little bit different. I'm gonna speak on assistant first because that's where I spent most of my roles as an assistant. You have to be the, what's the word I'm looking for? The extension of your head coach. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Trying to take some of those those duties off of your head coach, because he has a lot on him as already. You know, I hear a lot of guys, you know, they say, well, this coach is not getting coaches to the college, kids to the college level. Well, what are you doing as an assistant to help that? You know what I'm saying? How are you reaching out? What are you doing? Because a lot of times these head coaches, man, they have so much going on that they're not able to sometimes be able to reach out and do this because they got meetings. They got to do this. They got to do that. They got a plan. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it. And a lot of people don't understand that. So as the assistant, you have to take some of those roles and be able to be effective in those roles. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to those reach out to college coaches. Say, okay, I'm gonna give you the number to my head coach, but I just want to, as an assistant, I just want to, because that's what they do at the college level. Most of the time, the head coaches, they recruiting the kid. Most of the time, you don't even see the head coach until they sign the papers. A lot of times, it's those assistant coaches calling you, the position coaches calling you. You know what I'm saying? So those roles are just as important, man. And you have to be able to accept those roles and do your job accordingly.
And I know you ain't lying, because even at why I mentioned his name, shout out to Malik McConnell. Even at Malik McConnell signing, which you were there, the head coach also brought his assistant coaches. So it was like he just didn't show up. The assistants more so do the lead work. Mm-hmm. And just like Tex Winters, Phil Jackson wouldn't have been who he was if it wasn't for Tex Winters.
It's a joint, it's a collaboration, man. And like I said, me and Coach Fight, we talk daily. You know what I'm saying? I was just on the phone with him before I got here. You know, it's a daily process. You know, that connection and that relationship should be close. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be, oh, he think he better than me because he the head, or he think he's better than me because he's trying to overstep me because he's the assistant. It shouldn't be that way. We should be able to come to a meeting place and be able to work things out for the betterment of these players. And I think that's the most important role as on a coaching staff. Your staff has to be on one accord.
So your staff, from what I hear you saying, your staff have to remove self for the betterment of not just the player, but the student and the young man or young lady that you are pouring into.
It's never about one individual. It's never about one individual. I would say that forever. It's never about one. It takes a collective group in order to be successful. You know what I'm saying? You know, your head coach might get all the, it's almost like in football. Your offensive side, your running backs, your wide receivers, your quarterback, they're going to get all the accolades. Mm-hmm. Your linemen not going to get a whole lot, but they're the ones in the trenches making it happen for you. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a collective group effort all the way up to the head to make things successful.
So since we're in the midst of this pandemic, because you've coached way before the pandemic, what's the difference in, like last year, dealing with the season, and then even now, you got your cases, and what's the difference in coaching in this environment than coaching without the coronavirus and stuff like that? What's the biggest transition it's been?
Man, to be honest, man, it's the uncertainty and the safety. You know, that's the biggest thing for us, man. Like, we're trying to have a season and prepare for a season in a pandemic, and to where people are getting sick. You know, schools are having to close because it's tough. It's tough right now. I mean, we're working and you're planning your game, planning for your opponent, and you don't know if you're going to even be able to play the game, because something can happen one day and that game is over with. I mean, you've seen it happen in football. Well, you know, schools are game planning, then the next thing you know, a kid gets sick, shuts the whole thing down. And in basketball, it's a little bit different, because you might have 3 games that week. Or you might have 6 games in a 2-week span. Well, if one of your kids catch the virus, you out for 2 weeks. So you done lost 6 games already. You know what I'm saying? That's the toughest part about right now, man, is just being able to be consistent about what we're doing as coaches and as programs.
Okay, so let me ask you this. As far as recruiting, because you've been recruited, and you've also helped guys get recruited. Mm-hmm. What did you notice once you were getting recruited that you looked to say, is this guy even worth being recruited? Because we got to be honest. Some guys, let's be honest, some guys not. Because you're not going to put your neck on the line for a guy who's, like you said, not coming to class. If you got workouts, he don't want to work out. and then you mention them to a college coach, and they like, we know you knew this ahead of time because you referenced this guy to us.
That's the biggest thing we tell our guys all the time, man. You know, if we're gonna put our name on you, we expect you to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? And what we mean by accountable, you know, check your social media pages. If you got a whole bunch of mess on there and these college coaches, because a lot of times before the college coach even reach out to the coach about you, they're checking these social media pages. They want to see what kind of person you are before they even reach out to a college coach. And then when they call coaches, they're gonna see what these coaches are telling them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, I've had coaches tell me this many a times, man. With coaches, we check his grades. A coach, we've checked his social media. You know what I'm saying? And we've reached out to Coach John, and Coach John told us something totally different from what we've seen. So that makes it totally different. I will never, man, tell a coach something that will hurt a kid, but I also won't lie for a kid. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like, you know, the kid is not the best situation, that's not the best situation for him, I'm gonna listen, you have to do better. Before we even push the envelope to get you to the next level, you have to clean up things in your own backyard. You know what I'm saying? And that's the message we have to teach our kids daily, man. Check their parents. Check your kids' social media page. There's something because sometimes, man, you'll see parents getting on their kids' social media page and they all in with them. That's not good. You know, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Whether you care or not, that's not good. And if you do care as a parent about your child getting to the next level, you will be on top of that.
So let me ask you this: since you mentioned parents and social media and in the midst of coaching, have you ever seen a parent or number of cases where a parent might cause the child not to get the scholarship, or a coach might come to the game and see the parent and they say, "No, he's a great kid, but we don't want to deal with that."
Happens all the time, man. Happens all the time. Because you got to think about it, man. A college scholarship is an investment. These colleges are putting thousands of dollars behind your child. You know what I'm saying? And if you at the game acting a fool, going off on the rails, calling out the coach, you might be showing, you might think you showing up the coach, you might think you showing up the referees, but at the same time, it's a college coach sitting there stand and saying, "I don't want that kid. He's a great kid, great talent, but his parents are terrible." Now you've ruined it for your child. And with that being said, if you care about your child, you wouldn't do these things. I don't care what the environment. If you got an issue with a coach, meet him after the game. Go talk to him after the game. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit there and make a scene and hurt your child because you're upset or you're mad. It's ways about handling that.
So let me ask you this: put on your head coaching cap for a minute. You coaching a guy, and his father or his mother he might be a great player, but he's forcing the ball. Normally he might be on, but tonight he off. What would you do in that situation? And his mama or dad is saying, "Shoot it."
I'm gonna talk. I might call a timeout, talk to that kid, or I might sit that kid for a second. Or if it's before halftime, we might talk to him at halftime. But it's a way you handle that situation. But here again, that's where I say your assistants come in, because as the head coach, I'm so focused on what's going on in the game that if I pull that kid out, I expect those assistant coaches to sit him down and talk to him, calm him down, and let him know what we expect out of him. That's the reason why that goes back to coaches being accountable and being able to work as a group. Because like I said, the head coach has so much to deal with when it comes to game prep, when it comes to in-game management, that when a kid is doing something out of pocket or something that he's not used to doing, or he's just having a bad game, you have to sit him down. The head coach don't have time always to sit down and talk to him. So that falls back on your assistant. Sit him down, have a talk with him. Hopefully you put him back in the game and he'll have a better understanding, and then his play will show.
Okay. Now y'all see, I asked that question so y'all can see why. Now I don't vote politically. I don't. But with the BEC Awards, that's why I voted for my guy as the best coach.
I appreciate it.
And y'all see why. Because you see he always in coaching mode. So y'all just got to understand how passionate he is about not just the game, but about the betterment of our children.
Most definitely. And I appreciate everybody that voted for me, man. Like I said, it really came to a surprise for me, man, because you know me, man. I'm not gonna say I'm not in the public, but like I'm not a person that's got to be all over social media. I got to be all in. But at the same time, man, people see what your work. You know what I'm saying? And like that's the reason why I say I shout out to Coach Brown, and you know I feel like he's done a great job at Brainerd and some of the things he's done there. So I salute guys that have done a great job in what they do. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do that. You know, I'm for all coaches, man. I don't have to, you know, like I said, I want Chattanooga as a whole to step up. It's not just Red Bank, Tyner, Brainerd, Howard. Everybody. Everybody needs to step up their game to make these kids. We need to put Chattanooga on the map. Because like I said, right now, other cities in the state, they look at it like, oh, they ain't got no talent down there. I've heard it from college coaches. They might have 1 or 2 kids, man. I'm not going down there to watch a game. We got to change that, man. We have to change that. It starts with us.
And what's crazy, since you said that, like we've seen, I know you've seen it more than me, but I've seen guys compete against Ja Morant, who's in the NBA. What's his name? Lance Thomas, who plays for University of Memphis. I've seen Ryan Montgomery, who's overseas playing.
The McGuire kid that plays for Duke. I'm not sure if he's still there, but he played for Duke. I mean, they were all on that same team, United team. Lance Thompson. Last name is McGuire. Can't think of his first name, but that team, I mean, coming in, they were supposed to beat us by 20. You know what I mean? And we end up beating them all because we had a group of guys that worked together. And myself, Coach Mark Thomas, you know what I'm saying? We coached those guys to the best of their ability, and we got the job done. You know, and that's just what it. But at the end of the day, man, the relationship that me and Mark have with those kids, man, is like they enjoyed that process, man.
So, let me see where I want to go before we end this thing. What do you think when, far as your, I ain't gonna say legacy, I don't really like that word, your imprint. Y'all can have legacy, I'm gonna use imprint. When you done coaching this game, what do you want your imprint to be on the game? Or on the individuals that you coached or touched through the game?
That I made a positive impact on the kids in the city of Chattanooga. That's my imprint, man. And I don't need no recognition for that because that's from the heart. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I email coaches, I reach out to coaches for different kids, but you will never see me post that. You will never see me say I helped get such and such to college. That's not me. If I help get a kid to college, I wish that kid the best. You know what I'm saying? But nobody ever know that. That's between me and that kid and his parents. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not the guy that wants to shine. My ego is not at that. That's just not me, man. I'm humble. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate God putting me in this position to be able to coach and give back to these young men.
So let me ask you this before we wrap it up, because I got to touch on this year coming up. I know y'all been having some guys, some dogs over there. And when I mean by dogs, dudes who got their heart. What y'all got this year, man? Because I've been hearing, but you might not want to go too deep, but I know y'all got something over there.
I'm not going into it, man. Like I said, look, man, we gonna do the best we can with the guys that we have. That's just me. That's how we approach the game. Myself, Coach Carl, Coach Fight, Coach Montgomery, we work, man. Hours, countless of hours, watching film, seeing how we can put guys in different positions. You know, we spend hours and hours on the phone, just incorporating different things that fit our guys to the way they can perform at the best of their abilities. You know, that's our motive, man. We just want to make these guys stand out. The rest will take care of itself. As long as we continue to put the work in and push these guys to the best of their ability, the rest will speak for itself, man. The thing, like Coach Fike said when he got us in over there is, man, I want to get Red Bank to the level where it's being talked about again. And
he done that.
It's been done. You know what I'm saying? It's been done. So we just going to continue that, man. And like I said, there's no knock to anybody else. I wish everybody else nothing but the best. But we're going to do what we have to do. And that's just how it is.
So let me ask you this. Pardon words for the city. What would you like to tell them, just far as if you ever wanted to just let somebody know something that you like, or you just want to give somebody something motivational to leave them with, what would you like to tell the people of Chattanooga before we get up out of here?
I would just say from the youth leagues all the way up to the high school coaches, man, we got to be on one accord. You know what I'm saying? We got to work together for the betterment of these kids. And when we do that, then you'll start seeing more and more and more kids come out of Chattanooga. You know what I'm saying? I'll just say, you know, we wanted to make Red Bank. We wanted to get people talking about Red Bank. But at the end of the day, I want people talking about Chattanooga. Like they talk about Memphis. Like they talk about Nashville. I want people to talk about Chattanooga. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not confined to one area. I want people talking about the kids of Chattanooga. That should be our goal, man.
Hey, man, I thank you for coming, man.
Yes, sir.
This the Deprogram show. If you got a student athlete or if you know somebody aspiring to coach, please share this, get this out. And before I leave, y'all tune in and go subscribe to the Deprogram show on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. And yeah, get them shirts I got. I got some shirts. Too woke to be living off a quote. Man, we just out here trying to help our youth, help our people as a whole, and not just, when I say our people, I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about all people, because we got to quit being divided on minor things and understand that when you got guys like Gary Long and other guys pouring in, and they ain't just pouring into one group of kids, they pouring into all of them to make them great human beings. This is why we do the Deprogram show. That's why he coach. And we just trying to work together to uplift everybody. This the Deprogram show. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you follow the Deprogram show on Facebook, I appreciate you. If you don't, do that too. This the Deprogram show with my brother Gary Long, and we out.
Much love.